Another week, another dollar. What up, punks? Welcome back to another episode of the Pop Culture Punks podcast, where we take pop culture...
That fell apart.
Where we take pop culture out of the pit and put it into your pits.
I like it. I like it.
I
like it. Like, no, that didn't feel right.
Where we take pop culture out of the pit and into your eardrums.
Right in your face.
Where we take pop culture out of the pit and put it in your face.
Dog.
No, I got nothing.
Next week,
we'll keep them coming.
You'll nail it.
So I'm your host, Phil, and across from me is your boy,
Josh.
This week we'll be talking about what we're excited for in 2019.
Yeah.
Maybe cast some predictions, turn down the posi meter for a bit towards the end, and cast some shadows on what we're afraid might bomb this year. Shadow casting. So you better buckle your pants.
Hint.
And get ready for a ride.
Ugly dolls. But
before that, what you been up to?
Dog,
what you
I forgot to put anything down.
Yeah, I noticed you haven't done anything this week.
All right, this is what my update will be. I've been playing a lot of Gears of War, so I've been playing the first one.
Same.
I'm on the last act of Gears 1, so I'm hopefully going to crank that out today.
What difficulty are you playing on?
I'm playing on casual.
Okay. We'll talk about that.
I have lots of notes.
I have thoughts on what they define as casual.
I agree.
Also, that last boss battle... Yeah. Good luck.
Well,
you're gonna have to look up a guide on how to cheese the system.
Jeez, dude, I just finished the Corpser where you're underground and you have to set off that thing. I kid you not, like 20 minutes just shooting it because they were like, aim for the belly, and I was like, I'm doing that, dude, and nothing happened.
They didn't tell you what you were supposed to do.
No, they didn't tell me anything.
Finally, it just like happened, and I'm like, oh, that's what I was supposed to do.
Yeah, and I was like,
I'm
supposed to aim up, like. That is not intuitive at all. Yeah. So I did that, and then I had to rerun it a couple times because I had to like quit, and I was like, I thought that was a checkpoint after you beat it, but it's not. So the checkpoints in this game are so busted. Like the
second game improves a lot more.
Yes, and granted, we've been playing the 360 version. So
yeah,
not
I didn't want to play the remaster just because
I wonder if the remaster would have fix some of those issues, which I think is the point of a remaster. But regardless, there have been things where I've been like, oh, this is why I love this franchise, and then there's been things where I'm like, thank God I missed this when I first played, because I started with Gears 2. I never played Gears 1, so this is actually my first time actually trying to play Gears 1 through completion.
Yeah, I feel like Gears 2, like, we don't have to talk too much about it, but I feel like Gears 2 definitely makes some improvements on the formula, and the checkpoints are definitely closer together.
Yes, and I think 3 is even better than 2.
That's what I've heard,
in my opinion. So. But so I've been doing a lot of that. There's been a lot of things that have been like, man, I love this game, I love this franchise, and there's been a lot of things where I was like, thank God you didn't do this thing again. Like those Berserker runs and some of the like stupid do this things that aren't well explained and just very gimmicky, and the controls don't function well. It's just
I think we're kind of spoiled nowadays because games have kind of figured out like what
maybe I should
the line between what you should and shouldn't tell the player to do.
Yep.
And there's a lot of things that Gears does where it's like, you should have told me what to do.
Yeah.
Like how to figure that out.
Sorry, early 2000s, we don't think like that anymore. But no, so I've been enjoying it though, and it's definitely reminded me how much I love the Gears franchise and just how much it was a staple in third-person shooters and stuff like that. So that's been awesome. Brooklyn is back. We just watched episode 1 of season 6 last night, and we had a good laugh, and it was great. I can't wait for what's to come. So it's interesting that it seems like they're setting up earlier kind of a longer running like issue that they're going to have to solve, which I think is going to be fascinating to see what they do. So I wonder if that's going to be new characters that are going to be on consistently.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting because they're picking it up as if it's the second half of last season, but it's a new season. Right. So it's going to be like, I bet you they're going to resolve a lot of this early stuff really quick. Yep. But then it's going to be in for the long haul. Yeah, I'm hoping they're going for a long form too, because they were kind of short on Fox, I think. Yeah. So a longer series would be kind of fun if they write it well.
Exactly.
Which I trust they will.
For sure. So that's been that, and I don't have too much else, but the one big thing, and this is kind of the big podcast pop culture update as well, is we Gloria and I went out, we like restructured our house in a lot of ways. So we like moved bookshelves around, and I was like, I'm making more space in our usually we've been like awkwardly positioned in this like weird square space in our office. And right now I'm looking across a table that we bought for $15. Shout out to Goodwill, baby. That place kills.
Love the thrift stores.
Oh my goodness. I've never been a thrift store person, and I was blown away walking in, finding this thing, and they're like, is like $15 okay? As if like we were going to be like mad, like, how dare you?
Yeah, $15.
How dare you for this table? It was just like, oh yeah,
it's got solid build.
It's a solid build, my man. It is a nice
feels
table.
More official now.
Yep. So we are mic'd up, and it is like we're gonna have a TV mounted on the table. We're gonna be saying Joe Rogan style, like, young Jamie, can you pull that up, please? Can you search Scientology? Miscavige that thing. So we're stoked. I've been so hyped since yesterday. This is just
when you sent me that, because you sent me a picture and it was just blank. I'm like, it was just what in the world is he cooking up in there? And this is dope when I came here. So
yeah, buddy,
I'm excited.
So it's stoked. So that's been the gist. Just kind of pounding through gears, trying to get some time. And that's it.
Cool.
How about yourself, son?
I haven't been doing a ton either. I have been playing a lot of games, but I've just been trying to get through Gears. I'm definitely ahead of the curve because I beat 1.
Nice.
And I'm probably a quarter of the way through 2 now.
Cool.
And 2 feels a lot smoother, a lot cleaner. The graphics are a definite improvement. I'm glad I played the 360 version of 1 because it would have been a downgrade and that would have been annoying.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So in every way, it's an upgrade, basically. Sure. There is one enemy type that's really freaking annoying, but other than that...
I'm curious I haven't played it.
I forget what they're called, but they're like these little, basically like mind bomb things that like crawl around.
Oh, the tickers.
The tickers and they explode.
Yeah.
So those things are annoying because like sometimes you don't see them and they just blow you up. The nice thing is you can get revived by your people now.
Yes.
Which is if you're downed, which is super nice.
Yeah. That was the one thing that drove me nuts about the first. That's been driving me nuts about the first one is you're toast.
In number 2, there's an easy difficulty and then a normal difficulty. And they don't call them weird things. It's just like easy, normal, hard, and then insane or whatever. Mm-hmm. I think I'm still playing a normal because I was like, well, I've already shown that I can do it in 1, so I might as well just keep doing the normal. Yeah. And it's a lot easier because you can get revived. So I haven't been dying. I've been dying a lot, but I haven't been like having to restart things over again because that was annoying as crap.
Yeah, definitely.
So I've been doing that. I'll probably finish that this week, actually. We'll see how things go. I started listening to the Toxicity album by System of a Down. I had only ever heard 2 songs from that album.
Okay.
And I was kind of curious to hear what they sounded like. There's a YouTube channel called The Needle Drop, which is like a music review channel, and he did like a classic review of that album. And it's kind of funny because he traditionally does not like a lot of metal and new metal and stuff.
Sure. So
from that era.
A little bit of a shift.
So it was he had an interesting perspective on it, so it made me go back. And I probably listened to it like 4 or 5 times throughout the first couple days of the week. So
nice.
It's pretty good, actually. It's a lot more like political than bands were in that time, I feel like.
Sure.
Especially like metal bands.
Definitely.
So it's very interesting.
Because what country is Serge from? Because he's from...
Serge is from
Tankian.
Armenia.
Okay.
He's Armenian American. And him and something Malakian, I think, they met at like an Armenian school in California or something.
Oh, got it. Yeah. So Lebanese-born American. So we also have our computers as a result of this.
Yeah. So we
will not just be like, I don't know, I think he's from here, but I don't know. So we'll actually be looking things up. So hopefully it won't be as off.
It's actually really interesting because a lot of the melodies and stuff are very like metal sounding, but if you just hum the tune, it's very like almost Middle Eastern sounding, like like the melodies, and it's got a really cool sound to it.
Yeah.
So I would definitely check it out. So
for sure.
What else I've been doing? A couple comics. Imperious Rex is doing a book club thing this year.
Doomsday or Doom Patrol?
Doom Patrol, yeah.
Doom something. There's so many Dooms.
Yeah. So I've finished the first trade, and I'm working through the second trade right now on Comixology. I don't know what I think about it yet. It's weird. I feel like it's like Grant Morrison is the author, and he's like known for being like super esoteric and super like magical, not in the like the fantastical sense, but more in like the mystical arts sense.
Sure.
So it has a lot of like weird, trippy, like meta meta stuff in it, and you're just like, this is almost too meta for me.
It's a little much.
So it'll be interesting to see where it goes, and I'm excited to see what they have to say about it. But I've been reading that, and then I started reading BPRD Hell on Earth, which is like the final arc before the current arc right now that's ending the BPRD series, like for good, basically. It's been pretty good so far. I've heard it's hit and miss in certain places, so it'll be interesting to see where that goes. For people who don't know, BPRD is like the side. It's kind of like the team Hellboy was on before he kind of went and did his own thing. And BPRD is like Abe Sapien, who's like a fish man sort of thing. It's kind of like a paranormal detective agency, basically.
Nice. Cool. So, did they do a movie on that recently? Or I'm thinking like Rip RD or something.
Yeah, that was RIPD.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Which is also a comic, but that was also based on a comic. But
got it.
I've heard the movie is trash. So yeah, I've been reading those 2 comics, a couple other comics, but I'll probably talk about those next week because I just started today and it feels weird talking about them.
Cool.
And then the last main thing is a couple TV shows, like Josh said, Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Yeah,
and on top of that, the awesome thing for me is The Good Place also comes out the same day now.
Oh,
so
sure.
Evan and I are going to have double dose every week, so that's been fun. We watched those 2, and then I've been binging Community hard. I don't know why I started rewatching it, but I just like watched the first episode and I was like, dang, I forgot how good this show was.
Right. Yeah.
And then I just like, I've been like watching it like, because I've been getting kind of burnt out on Gears, but I don't want to start a new game yet. And so like, I was like, what else can I do? Like, what's a show I could watch or rewatch or something? And I was like, I kind of want to check out Community again because I saw all the seasons were on Hulu and I never actually finished it.
Sure.
Because season 4 was kind of when they got rid of Dan Harmon.
Right.
But I've heard 5 and 6 are actually good, but I've never seen them. Huh. So I'm on like halfway through season 2 already after like a week and a half.
Nice.
So that's been really funny. It's such a good show, and I love all the characters on it, and it's just super good.
Awesome.
So that's my main pop culture updates.
Cool.
The only news item I threw on here was
it's a big deal, so I think it's definitely worth.
Huge deal, and I think it'll probably tie in a little bit to our discussion today. But Activision and Bungie, the publisher and developer of Destiny, officially cut ties with one another.
Yes, they did.
And somehow Bungie got away with maintaining their rights to...
Right, like publishing rights. Yeah. They're basically like, yeah, we wish Bungie the best. They may have full publishing rights. And everyone was like, what?
Yeah.
Like, so it's a big deal.
It's kind of interesting in twofold because Bungie still... On one hand, they probably split because Activision... Destiny wasn't bringing in enough money for Activision to justify it. But Bungie has Destiny still has a huge player base, so I'm assuming Bungie also wanted to split because like Activision wasn't letting them go down the road that they necessarily wanted to go.
Yep.
And so I'm excited to see what Bungie ends up doing with this game because I haven't really looked into Destiny as much just because of like the monetization of it. Like it's just too much money for one game.
Right.
Like, you pay like $60 for the base game, and you play that for a while, then you buy the first DLC run, then the big main DLC that's like $50, then the second DLC run, and these little mini DLCs, and it's just like at that point the game should have just been free, and then you do like a standard monetization model. But I think it was because of Activision that they were kind of hamstringed into those dumb things, and the microtransactions I think Bungie probably didn't want to do to that extent.
Yeah.
It's almost a given that you have microtransactions nowadays, but I think what they did in that game was Activision's doing. So hopefully Bungie can take it in a direction that's more akin to their writing on Halo and stuff. But we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I've been fascinated seeing what has transpired on social media because I remember it was all over Twitter, and then I started watching videos and I watched a couple things here and there, and I watched a video from IGN actually, and they had... It was funny because the whole panel was unanimously like, this is really good, but it was also really interesting because there was one person who made some proper, I think, gave some context to like his concerns where he was like, I'm excited, don't get me wrong, but his worry was you are leaving a publisher like Activision that has a lot of money behind it. Yep. And so there is a reality that they are probably able to feed some of the costs that Bungie doesn't need to... We're just going to have to take up now because they have the publishing rights. However, I think so as a result of that, people are like, oh, well, they can be like perfectly artistically free and do all this stuff. And it's like, yeah, but probably not as much as you're anticipating they would be, pejoratively. But I think what excites me about it is I hope that this is a huge statement for the industry going forward, in that I hope that this spells out companies are not afraid to see who the real villain is in the situation. Because from what I heard, and I heard a couple, and this is rumor too, but I heard it from some reputable gaming and news sites, is the head teams at Bungie said when they announced to their team, because when it went live on Twitter, that is, I think, when Bungie announced it internally, devs were cheering. Yeah. Like, they were like ecstatic, like literally verbally cheering and like high-fiving and stuff, and obviously that, that could be played up just because of the story, and you want to capitalize on the fact that you're like, yeah, down with Activision and stuff like that. But
I feel like it's very evident, looking at EA and Activision together, like what they're doing to games like Call of Duty. Like, you have to pay for reticles now and like different things. That's just like, that's excessive. Yeah, and I think they were probably hamstringing Bungie into doing things that they didn't want to do creatively. So
and so I guess what I'm hoping is this definitely has me intrigued for whatever Bungie does next. Like, I may, even just to support them as an independent dev now, like I may jump on the board to whatever, if they do Destiny 3 or if they do another franchise or whatever. I think mainly because they went along with it. Like, it's they could have maybe left sooner. I don't know. Contracts are complicated and messy, and I just think for me what it is that exact pricing model, and I think the whole industry is shifting in a way that the way they had priced, I think if Destiny would have came out back in the WoW days in its current state, it would have been the biggest blockbuster success ever, because WoW had $20-$40 expansions that you had to buy.
They still do.
Yeah, they still do.
Yeah.
But I think the difference is that when that model came out, and I think because of the distance between each of World of Warcraft's major expansions that comes out, it was a little more palatable. Like, if you're buying this, if this is the only game you play, you're buying it every 2 years, which I guess, is still understandable. But when you run together 1 year's worth of content that really isn't even that much compared to other games, and it's pushing like 120 plus, for games like The Witcher that you can buy, like...
Yeah, I think it's just because, and hopefully we see this change now that they're moving, but I feel like it's because the pricing doesn't make sense.
Right.
Like, why is Forsaken $10 less than the game was on launch? Like, there's no way Forsaken is the same size as the game. Maybe it is, I don't know, but it, like... And then you scale down the smaller DLCs, and it's like, where's the scaling as far as like, how are you deciding the price of this even?
Yeah, and it just doesn't make sense. And especially when you have, a lot of people were saying maybe they'll jump to a Warframe model where Warframe is completely free and you can earn everything in the game. But, I don't mind paying, and maybe that's the thing. And maybe because they can just sell the base game, they'll be able to get away with selling the base game, whatever that next IP is, and then make money off of like smaller scale microtransactions down the road, and not have to sell. It's like, because I think some of the games I have listed for the excitement for this year, and I guess we can jump into it if we're cool, because I think it's a good transition. But I think along the lines of Bungie being in this boat as well, I think you have Ubisoft with The Division 2, and you have BioWare with Anthem, and I think guess 2 for 1, but I'm excited for both of those games. I probably won't pick up The Division 2. I may pick up Anthem depending, because I really like what BioWare makes. But to me, the excitement behind them is a little bit of dread and a little bit of hype, mainly because depending on what happens with Anthem, I think that will be the final nail in the coffin for BioWare and or EA.
Yeah.
I think... because of what happened with Bungie, it gives me hope that something could potentially be a huge deal with them splitting EA too, if they feel kind of empowered after what Bungie did. I really hope that's the case. But again, it's like I don't know what EA is doing. It
depends on how successful Anthem is.
Exactly. And so if it fails really badly, that could shut down BioWare for good. And not as a fault of theirs, but the fault that, you have EA with a chokehold on them, and they weren't allowed to to make what they wanted to make, and they had to do certain things.
Yeah.
And I'm concerned. So I'm nervous. I was originally going to pick it up on launch. I may still, just for the heck of it, because I'm really genuinely kind of curious to see. It looks fun.
It's worth trying.
Yeah, it looks fun.
I bought Fallout 76 on launch.
Yeah, right. So. I'm pretty sure it'll be better than that.
Yeah.
But so I think Anthem is going to be another. I think that's going to be the next. If I had to predict, I think BioWare EA is going to be the next story or potential major split like this.
So they just have to make enough money that they can be on their own.
Probably.
But not enough money that EA is satisfied.
Right, exactly. Yeah, so we'll see. And then I think with The Division 2, that also spells a huge industry mark for me in that, free DLC, free expansions, free raids. There's a lot of content that Bungie has been forced to monetize that basically Ubisoft came out on E3 and said, hey, you're not going to have to pay for any of this. You just pay for the base game and that's it. And I think as a result, they will probably have more money that comes in because people are going to be... I think people are starting to vote with their wallets more. And I think it's becoming evident.
Well, yeah, and I think, too, the market is starting to become saturated. Like, now everybody's trying to make these MMO loot shooter combo type games.
Right, and people are like, if yours sucks, I don't have time for it.
Yeah, and the pricing model is just confusing because console games, you basically have to charge $60 because of the way the industry works, it seems. And so you can't just give the game away for free necessarily like Warframe does.
Right.
But yeah, it's how do you decide? Because even with Destiny, their pricing model is based on old MMORPG, it seems, but it's not really an MMORPG. It kind of is. It's trying to be, but it isn't fully fleshed out like an MMO would be. So it's all these companies are basically just trying and reiterating, and it's kind of what you have to do, which sucks because it screws over the consumer then, because we're the ones who get the crappy stuff, and then it gets improved over time. And hopefully, I'm interested in The Division 2 because the first one was actually really fun, and I played it after everything was fixed, after everything was resolved and whatnot, and I didn't play it a ton, but seeing what they did, and they actually listened to people and listened to fans, and now, like you said, they're doing the free DLC. It seems like they actually took what they did wrong in the first one, and actually fixed everything, or it seems like that's what they're doing, and they're kind of shifting the model and kind of fixing it according to what fans have said
absolutely
they would want. So I'm interested to see what that does. It's probably not a day one buy for me, but I'd consider getting it if we both wanted to get it when it was $40-$30 or something.
And that's the
Black
thing.
Friday, probably there'll be some sort of deal where you can get it plus some
whatever comes with it. I think that's the thing is I think your point that it's just becoming oversaturated to me is the big issue. And I think that's why it's a huge deal that Bungie is leaving Activision, because maybe they don't want to do this anymore, because they're seeing that Destiny was the first of its kind in a lot of ways, and I think that's why people jumped so hard into it. But now they're running into really heavy, really well-made, and frankly better competition that is free, cheaper, more engaging, changing in different ways. And so if Activision is unhappy because they're not making money, and Bungie's unhappy because they're being forced to do things that they don't want to do and that are actually taxing and taking away from their game, maybe something crazy will happen. Maybe they'll do, who knows? But yeah, so I'm excited for those. I'm really curious to see what happens with Anthem and The Division 2. I was looking at my list and I tried to balance yours because there's a lot of ones on your list as well that I also would say. But I think some of the ones primarily that I'm really excited for is one, Gears 5. It's been so long since I've had a Gears game come out that I've been actually able to buy day one, because when 4 came out, I didn't have my Xbox One anymore, so I couldn't play it. So I've been playing through that the past over Christmas, and I enjoyed it. It was that and Halo were the two franchises that when I gave up my 3 or my 1, I was like, oh, this sucks. I wish I could still keep those somehow. But I'm really excited for Gears 5, and with the story, it seems that they're taking the game deeper into the lore and everything, and some of the things that they're alluding to in 4. So I really, really hope that this one is... I hope that 5 is the game that blows open the doors on some of the deep stuff that... Even playing 1, I've actually been really impressed and had a lot of fun with how much they don't just tell you yeah, so there's these things, and here they came, and they came for this because they wanted this thing and whatever, and here they are, and now you got to fix it. It's just kind of, you're like in it, and you're just running, and you're finding things along.
With Gears, did Cliffy B? Did he leave after the third one?
I think he left after the third one.
Okay, so same with Halo, basically.
Yeah. So I think.
Would you say Gears 4 is like the same sort of quality shift between Halo 3 and 4?
I would say
like it's good, but it's not the same as
not
it was
good.
when. Okay.
Yeah. So I think there's some things that they're doing that are really interesting. The same thing I would say with Halo 3 to Halo 4 is there was a lot of things that they did that I was like, okay, like I can get behind this. I think this is tight. But there's a lot of other things that I think they miss the mark in terms of kind of balancing out gameplay with narrative, because I all the Gears games I played for the story, and so that's why 2 is probably my favorite. 2
has been very interesting so far, story wise. The first one was kind of just like,
you're a bunch of military dudes, you got a job to do, and
like it's not bad, but it's not
2 dives into some stuff where you're like, holy cow, like okay, this is not the same rodeo that we were in.
Yeah,
and 3 builds on that even more too. And I think 4. I think because of what happens in 3, 4 was just in a tough spot, and because of that, I think they had to set it up in an uncomfortable position that eventually is going to lead into, because even first half of the game was kind of meh. Like I was like, I'm playing it and it's fine, but the second half has been tight. Like I've been really enjoying it, and some of the stuff that they've been alluding to, and there's like some things happening that I'm like, this isn't amazing, but I'm really curious. Like I'm genuinely curious to see where this goes. And from the trailer from 5, I am hyped.
Yeah,
like,
I'm definitely playing that one.
I'm real excited.
We'll have to do a follow-up episode with 4 and 5 after we do 1 through 3.
Definitely.
That one, I feel like Gears, like with Gears and Halo, I would love to see them reinvent the franchise in some ways.
Yeah,
like,
I agree. That'd be sweet.
Because like what Santa Monica did with God of War, like I would love to see that with Gears or Halo. Amazing. Like just completely reinvent the game, basically,
100%.
in a way that's good. Like get somebody who can write and who can actually, like Cory Barlog, who's the creative director of the God of War. It was like 5 or 6 years, and that dude, like all the interviews you watch of him, like he's so passionate about the story and the lore and the people and the characters, and like you could like they actually got somebody who wanted to like change it for the better, which he did, and got like 50,000 Game of the Year awards. And like I never would have thought God of War was like a game of
ever going to contend for that.
Like, it was kind of it was back in like the 360 PS3 days. It was always like, well, we got Halo and Gears. Yeah, well, we got Uncharted and
right.
God of War. But it was never like, none of the exclusives really like stood out as like I need one or the other per se. Other than like obviously the online aspect of Gears and Halo were probably the biggest draws.
Oh yeah.
But I feel like now when you look at games, like I feel like Xbox's exclusives still can't hold a candle to PS4's quality wise.
I would agree.
Like Gears 5 is going to be fine, I'm sure, but it's probably still going to just be an extension of what's already been done, rather than completely like reinventing it and kind of making it fresh.
Yeah.
And maybe it will. I don't know, but I'd love to see more of that.
Yep.
So
yeah, definitely.
In 2019 going forward, I'd love to see more.
And since we're on the Xbox train too, one of the ones on my list, and then if you want to jump over to some of yours,
we can kind of just flip back and forth as we see.
Is Crackdown 3?
I'm interested in that too.
I may. So I have, because I picked up
baby.
Dude. I picked up some controllers, so I have essentially like a month free of Game Pass. So what I'll probably do is once Crackdown comes out, is I'll bank those and just like try it for a month and be done with it. I'm interested in it because Crackdown is one of the weirdest franchises, in my opinion, that people are really excited about a third game. Because I know the first one is a cult classic. The second one was terrible. And people did not like it. And now everyone is so off the wall of how the third one is going to be.
Yeah, I think people are just...
I think the problem...
I think Xbox owners just want an exclusive.
They just want a game, right. But I think part of it too is, and this is the frustrating side of it, and this is where I'm interested to see what happens, is this game has been in development for forever.
Yeah.
Just, I mean, from the first time that they announced it, it's
I'm honestly surprised it hasn't died.
Yeah.
Because like Scalebound got shafted, which looked dope.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
a bunch of other games basically just got...
So I'm really confused as to why this is still maintained some of the hype. And I think there are a few people who are a little fatigued of like, okay, like just if it's not here, I don't care. Like, goodness sakes.
It's basically like Kingdom Hearts 3. Like,
right.
I'll believe it when it comes.
Yeah, exactly. Like until it's on the shelves and I happen to stumble upon it, like whatever. But I do think it's going to be a stalwart game to come out on the system. And I really hope that it is something that, because from what it sounds like it's going to be an awesome ride of just chaos, like almost like a Just Cause vibe, where it's just chaos and stuff blowing up, and especially with the lax nature that is in the Crackdown franchise, I think it could be really funny just how
plus Terry Crews voices some character
exactly
in that game,
so that'll be awesome.
I'll take anything with Terry.
Right. So I really hope that Microsoft has an awesome year this year, especially, I mean, mainly now because like I can actually engage with it, but just genuinely because I think, to your point with Sony versus Xbox, I don't think we're in the same, like, well, my franchise can beat up your franchise, time that we were when the PS3 and the 360 were around. But I think there's just such a huge rift in terms of, I didn't need an Xbox. It just was, I literally got it for free. So I was like, sure, why not? And I love playing all the games again on it, but if I had to pick between the PS4 and the 360, and someone was making me give up one of them, Xbox One, no doubt. And I wish that I had to think about it a little bit, because right now I don't feel like I do.
Yeah, and it's... I do want to see more single-player games on the Xbox come out, because I think that's the Rift. The Rift is single-player multiplayer, because like all of the people who are hyping up the Xbox One X and all that stuff, like, they're justified in doing so because it is the more powerful console. But if all you do is play multiplayer games, then
I don't really care.
That's the one you want.
Yeah.
But if you're looking for like good single player experiences, you can still get that on the Xbox, but you can get that on the PS4 plus a ton of other good single player experiences. Like I don't want to say I feel bad for people, but like I'm bummed out that people don't get to experience God of War and Persona and Spider-Man, and I haven't played some of those either, but like, these are games that are winning Game of the Year. And so, like, you could make an argument that console exclusivity is dumb and bad for consumers anyway, but that's just the way the industry is now. And I think it is that rift between multiplayer, single player. So I'm hoping Microsoft can crank out some good games this year, and hopefully Gears 5 will be good. I'm sure that'll have multiplayer as well.
Definitely.
And then Crackdown 3, I think, is single player, but maybe it has multiplayer aspects.
I think from what they've been toting...
multiplayer and me and you are just like running around.
Oh yeah, like that sounds awesome. So, but I hope that there's a substantial single player that actually is worth investing in.
Yeah.
So
for sure. Yeah. Hopefully 2019 is the year of Microsoft's return.
Yeah. Right. So one of the games that was on your list, and I'm curious what, because I almost am surprised that you're excited for this one, but Ghost of Tsushima. So. Mainly because it has a Dark Souls vibe, and it's not Shadows Die Twice or whatever that one is. It's like the other one Sekiro, where it's but it still seems like it has like a difficulty drive to it, and so I'm curious where your excitement is.
So in my mind, who's the developer for that? Sucker Punch?
I think so.
So they made Infamous, right?
Yes.
And the way I interpret it is like there's Dark Souls type games that refuse to let you decide which difficulty you want to play on. They're just hard. Yeah. And you can't choose. And I hate that. And I always want to play them because they always look so dope. Like every game that comes out is like, dude, like a ninja game with like grappling hooks and stuff, like that looks sick. Right. But I feel like with most of the PS4 exclusive games that are developed by their internal people, like they're definitely developed towards people who like challenge, but they also let you choose.
Sure.
They still let you choose if you want to play on easy. Yeah. And so like I feel like that's going to be the case with this game. And so if I can play on easy, then I'll play it, and it just looks gorgeous. Like yeah. And they've already said like we're not trying to be historically accurate at all with this game. Like they've admitted that. And so it's going to be like a fantastical take on the Japanese, I forget what period, I can't remember what period, but they basically said like we're not trying to be accurate because like they're samurais and they have different types of armor and stuff, and so it looks like it's just going to be a fun, like gorgeous game. And I think if they can I think we're in a time now where like I'm excited to see people pushing the boundaries of environmental assets and character models, and like playing God of War and the character models in that game, like you could almost not even tell that it's a video game. Like the facial expressions and the hair and everything looks so like realistic. So that game just looks like an amazing open world type game, but with samurais, which I'm not going to argue with that.
Yeah.
But if they don't let me choose my difficulty, I probably won't play it because
that might be one to watch.
I just don't have time to be good at difficult games at this point.
Sure. So I have the official Sucker Punch Become the Ghost. So this is from their website. So the game synopsis is: the year is 1274. Samurai warriors are the legendary defenders of Japan until the fearsome Mongol Empire invades the island of Tsushima, wreaking havoc and conquering the local population. As one of the last surviving samurai, you rise from the ashes to fight back. But honorable tactics won't lead you to victory. You must move beyond your samurai traditions to forge a new way of fighting, the way of the ghost, as you wage an unconventional war for the freedom of Japan. That just sounds legit, tight. Yeah. Like that, and even I'm like looking at the banner at the top, and it's like this samurai with this dope armor, and he's got one of those like Oni like half masks on his face, and it's like snowing. It looks baller. Yeah. Like now that I'm looking at it, I'm like, no, yeah, I'm actually pretty excited for that too.
I don't like that's not one of the ones that's on the top of my list of like I will buy this game for sure when it's $60.
Yeah,
it'll probably be
once it drops
Black Friday or once it gets down to like 40 or something.
Sure.
But yeah, it looks really fun and it looks like cool environmentally. And I when it comes to third person, I definitely like slashers or whatever with swords
like
and stuff.
Fighting games.
Fighting much more than like gun games.
Sure.
So I don't know. It looks fun. It looks good. So
nice.
I'm hyped for it. I'm excited. Just looking at this list, like I just said, like I hope Xbox has like a good year, and I'm like, well, if The Last of Us 2 and Ghost of Tsushima, and there's probably a couple more exclusives that I'm not listing here.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
If those come out, well, PS4 is probably going to breach the 100 million sales mark.
Oh, dude, for real.
This year. So
for real.
It's always a good year for a PS4 owner.
Yeah, it's pretty much.
And if you like single player experiences, that is it. So yeah. Another one, I'll jump on some of mine maybe. Another one that's a PS4 exclusive, just to stay on that train, is... Yeah. I don't know if this has been confirmed, but a lot of people in the industry and out of the industry are pretty confident that it's happening, is The Last of Us 2. Yeah. And I think even like Colin and the PlayStation Sacred Symbols or whatever, like they are predicting like spring, I think.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow. Quick turnaround.
And Colin seems to actually have a pretty good understanding of like dev timelines and stuff.
Sure.
So if it comes out in spring, I'm dropping everything to play that sucker.
Yeah.
So
nice.
I'm really excited for The Last of Us 2. Everything I've seen so far is like graphically it looks amazing, and if the cinematic shifts between action and like cinematics are as smooth as they were in that E3 trailer, like it's gonna be nuts.
This game is gonna be visceral.
Yeah.
Like woof.
And they're definitely like they're shifting the tone a lot because a lot of the stuff that I appreciated about the first one was the father-daughter like relationship between the two, and kind of like the breaking down of barriers of like this gruff dude who like has to learn basically to love this girl who's not his daughter and like survive in this post-apocalyptic wasteland. And now basically all that's gone, or we don't know what happened to Joel, but like that's kind of now Ellie's the main character, and it just looks like all of the trailers like have gotten so much hate because it's so visceral. Like so I'm excited for it because it's like if they write it just as well as the first game was written, like this game is just going to be nuts.
Well, it could be game of the year if the way it's looking.
I feel like it will be.
Yeah,
it'll be a contender.
Year, I think it's going to be up there.
They're kind of lucky they didn't release it in the same year as Red Dead and God of War. But I feel like this probably would have beat God of War if it came out.
Yep.
But yeah, it looks amazing gameplay, because the first one was like, I hate third-person shooters, like I always say, and the first one was definitely clunky in the shooting aspects, and I think I played it on easy just to get through it.
For sure.
It's very clunky, and the hide mechanics get kind of messed up sometimes, but that E3 trailer, like the seamlessness between like her hiding and like picking up a brick and chucking it, and then like you can like visually see the amount of arrows she's got in her quiver, and she runs out and she's like, oh frick, and she like has to jump over and like stab the dude, and like all of that's happening like seamlessly in a cinematic.
Yeah.
So like I don't know what they're tailoring and stuff, but if it can even be like 75% of what they showed, like I'm just gonna have my mind blown.
Right.
Like
exactly.
The whole time playing that game. Yeah. So I'm really excited for that game.
And I mean, it's Naughty Dog, right?
It's Naughty Dog.
Yeah,
they
deliver it
every time.
They do.
So Those are two of the PS4 exclusives that I'm excited for. You got any more that we both got decent sized lists, so I figure we can just keep jumping back and forth.
As I'm thinking, just to keep the conversation interesting, so I'll just kind of list a couple that I'm excited for. I don't think there's like really a big deal for them. So Fire Emblem 3.
Do we know that's
Fire
coming
Emblem
this year?
3 Houses? Yes, I believe it's coming out this spring.
I'm definitely buying that one.
I'm really excited just because there's been a lot of Fire Emblem games on the 3DS, but similar to Pokemon, this is going to be the first console game in 12 years. So this will be the first Fire Emblem
was the last one on the Wii?
Radiant Dawn. Yeah, so that was 12 years ago. I looked up this morning, so just to make sure. But yeah, just from the E3 trailer, that game looks amazing. Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles for the Switch, I'm really hyped on. That I still have enough Game Boys and stuff.
That's the remaster, right, of the one you guys used to play?
Yeah.
I'm curious to see if they'll implement something with the Game Boys.
I don't think so.
Like how they'll make that work.
And that's the thing is it could be really interesting because they, like we have a GameCube adapter now for the Switch that is functional via Smash. I wonder if as like a nod to it, they'll say like you can do it that way. I think because it's a modern game, I would hope that they would give it just be like, yeah, you can open up your own menu system or like encouraging people to play, because what I'm excited for is playing with other people and having my own system. And
if you could do 4 switches,
exactly, because that's kind of how it was designed.
Honestly, I'll probably buy that game just so me and you can play.
Yeah, and it's so awesome. Much fun. Honestly, like it's one of the most slept on GameCube era games ever. I think like it's just got this dungeon crawl.
You told me about it.
It's just got this dungeon crawl mechanic that's so much fun, and it's such a nostalgia game for me. But I think what's big for me in addition to that is that this is one of the first. That and Ikaruga are going to be the only 2 GameCube games that I think are on the Switch. So this is a really big deal that this is like one of the more obscure, really random out there GameCube games that they're bringing to the Switch. So I really hope that this means like maybe we'll see Eternal Darkness, like maybe we'll see Beautiful Joe, or some of those like other more out there titles that were on the GameCube, and maybe they'll port them up, which would be amazing.
Speaking of which,
yes.
Somebody I saw today, I didn't read too much into it, but some data miners found like a SNES, Nintendo 64, and GameCube, I think, emulators somewhere on the Switch, or like somehow in like some code somewhere. So like maybe we'll be getting some stuff.
I wouldn't be surprised. If
they start dropping SNES games with the online, I'm buying online.
Yeah.
Because I've been holding off because I'm like, I don't really want the NES stuff.
Right.
But if they start dropping SNES, like, I'll do it.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
Or N64, heck yeah.
Yeah,
Can you Pokemon Snap on the Switch? Dude, with motion controls? Like,
that would be, dude, that would actually be pretty awesome. I'd replay that for that. That'd be awesome.
So
Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles, I'm actually really excited for. And everything else on here, Far Cry New Dawn, I played 5 and I really liked it, and I like the color scheme. It's a little Rage 2, I know we talked about, but for the price point, I'm really stoked. Days Gone, it's been a while since we've had a zombie shooter, let alone like a third person.
Is that a sequel to anything, or is that just one that's been in development for like ever?
Yeah, I think it's just been its own thing for a while. So that one's been cooking for a long time, but that's supposed to come out this spring as well. So I'm interested to see. I probably won't pick that up, but just it's been so long since we've had a zombie style game, and it seems like they're taking a new tone and vibe with it. So I think that'll be really cool.
Something with like motorcycles too, which would be kind of cool.
Yeah,
mowing down zombies with like a motorcycle with spikes or something on the front.
Can you imagine? that'll be grody. And then the last game I guess I have 2 more. So the last game on my list, and then I found one when I was Googling, but Kingdom Hearts 3. And I think the reason I'm really excited for this is, one, it's been just shy of 15 freaking years since the last like mainstay game. So 2 came out in, in 04.
Was that on the PS2?
That was on the PS2. Yep. So that was a long time ago, but so it's been a long time. And granted, there's been like Birth by Sleep and Dream Drop Distance and all these other games that have filled in, but this is the first mainstay game. However, I think similar to our discussion about the other companies earlier, Square has been dropping the ball hard since last year. Like they have had some major flops, and so there's part of me that's kind of concerned, honestly, about this one. Not that it's going to be bad, because everything that they showed, like the graphics look amazing, the combat looks fun, but I'm wary. I'm just very I don't want to be for a franchise like this. I think like people are building this up as if it took 15 years to make, and like that's why it's taking so long. And And maybe the reason is they were just trying to get the rights for some things, and Disney bought rights for stuff. I know there's people kind of crossing their fingers that maybe one of the big reveals will be, Marvel or Star Wars intermixed, which would be super awesome.
Oh gosh, that'd be crazy.
But like, I'm a little worried. I'm still gonna play it. I'm really excited for they've already announced that like Big Hero 6 is one of the worlds. They've already shown gameplay of playing in the Toy Story world, which is gonna be really, really awesome. But Square just gives me the wrong vibe right now. Like, they just have not been at the top of their game, and especially with a game this monumental and with a fan base as volatile as the Kingdom Hearts people. Dude, if they screw this up, like,
there's gonna be fire.
There's gonna be fire.
Yeah,
but not the good kind. But and then the last one that I'll just kind of end on for games that I'm excited for this year, and this one is just because this game is from day one has been a trip. Death Stranding. I am not a Kojima fanboy. I am not one of the people that is, like, anything Kojima does is amazing or whatever. I honestly couldn't stand the Metal Gear games. Like, they drove me nuts. And I heard 5 was different because they changed a lot of things, but I could not play those. Like, I've tried, and I just, not my thing.
I just don't like stealth. So.
Yeah. Well, and it was, like, weird stealth, too. Like, because I love, like, Splinter Cell Blacklist is one of my favorite stealth games, or, like, Deus Ex. But I tried playing one of, because I have the collection on the Vita, and it was just like, what is this? Like, this doesn't make sense. I don't know what the buttons. It was a mess. I won't sit on that too long. But Death Stranding, every single trailer has been like, what is this? Like, if I'm not playing it, I'm watching someone play it.
Honestly, like, I wouldn't be surprised if they just dropped the game and still didn't tell us anything about it, and they're like, you just have to figure it out.
Yeah.
Like, I would not be surprised.
Do. I really
kind of want them
to
do that. Like, I'll pay $60 just to find out.
Figure out what the frick is this game. Yeah.
Because you just put the disc in, it's just Kojima doing the troll face.
Did you like, nah. That would be
gotcha.
Like, what up, fools?
No, I think I didn't put that one on my list either, but mostly because I don't believe it's coming out next year. But if it does, like, I'm definitely buying that because I just want to know. Yeah. Like, I'm excited for next year because, like, I feel like he's finally going to give us something of a little bit more substance, hopefully.
Yeah,
but
definitely. And just to throw it out there too, because I know there's probably a handful of listeners that are not huge gamers, so we're gonna dip into movies in a second too, just to have like another medium.
I'll finish off my list and then we can jump in.
But just to straight up say, like, if you are not a gamer but you want something like really like freaky and like weird and just super artsy but seemingly purposeful, but you're just like, what is this? Watch the trailers for Death Stranding, like especially the one from E3 this year where he's like walking in the mud and then he has like the baby on his chest, and then there's like the thing that was just had me hooked is when he's walking out in the field and there's all these people just like floating and like this weird umbilical cord thing, but they're all like adults. Then he's walking and like, hey, it's just watch it. Just YouTube Death Stranding and just like, go down the rabbit hole.
It's like some sort of like baby delivery service or something, like in some sort of like weird world. Like,
oh, that would be
you have to deliver
fun.
Babies or something.
Weird.
It sounds weird, but if you could like write it interestingly,
post-apocalyptic storks, basically.
Yeah, because he's always got that little tube with the baby on it. It's so creepy.
Well, there seems, and I wonder if this is going to be one of those games where, and I wouldn't be surprised at all, and that's actually where I'm wagering my bets, is that it's going to be a game where the theme is super simple, where it's going to be like loss or, you know, family or becoming an adult or like being a dad, but the way they take it is going to be like, it's going to be absolutely bonkers. Like just the whole thing with this like walking invisible creature that you can't breathe by, but it like leaves footprints, and there's like pictures of kids, and you know, like, did
he just do the Metal Gear Solid games, or did he also do like horror games like Silent Hill or something?
I think Kojima's main claim to fame is only Metal Gear Solid, but I'll let you go down your list, and if I find anything else.
I follow him on Twitter, and like, I don't know what he's doing, but like every other day he's got some famous person in his studio taking a picture with like that dope looking suit that he's got with the flag. And I'm like, and I think he's like getting people's faces, like he's capturing people's faces digitally. I think he's putting them in this game. So
oh
like,
my goodness!
Everybody's just like, "What are you doing, dude?"
I can't wait. Like I've not been. So as I'm looking at it, it looks like basically Metal Gear. There's been a few like Game Boy Advance games that he worked on. Zone of the Enders, which is like a mech flying shooting game.
So not a ton.
So he does not have the only horror thing that's kind of standing out is PT. But I know that was
that's kind of what this became.
That was supposed to be Silent Hill.
Yeah,
that was supposed to be the next Silent Hill game, but then they transitioned into this.
Yeah.
So
also, the cool part is he's working with Guillermo del Toro on Death Stranding.
Yes.
Which has written a lot of trippy, dope horror monster stuff. And Norman Reedus is the main character, the main guys. It's just gonna be crazy.
It just looks bonkers. It looks bonkers.
I hope it's good because he's been building up a lot of hype for a lot of years. So if this game bombs, I don't know what's gonna happen. The universe might implode.
Right.
So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and so we've been kind of doing some predictions. So one of the ones that I'm hoping happens this year. It might be a long shot.
No,
but
gotta say it.
If it happens this year, I don't know what I'm gonna do. It's Cyberpunk 2077. We've talked about it extensively, so I won't go into it too much.
And it will not be the last time either.
And people are theorizing that it'll probably come out in the fall sometime.
Yeah.
I think Colin said he thinks it might even come out in the spring, which is kind of a pipe dream. But if it came out in the fall, I would just die pretty much. I wouldn't be able to even play it because I can't handle it.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
So hopefully I haven't hyped it too much in my head, but I feel like I'm not the kind of person who gets bummed out if something is not as good as I thought it was. It's just still think it's fun.
Yeah, definitely.
So that's probably the biggest thing I'm excited to hear more about this year.
Yep.
Even if we don't get it, I just want to hear more, and I want to see more dope screenshots and videos, and I want to see some if that game has the art of Cyberpunk 2077, I'm pre-ordering that immediately. So I'm excited for that.
Yep.
But everybody's heard that 50,000 times probably by now.
Yeah.
Another one I'm excited for is The Outer Worlds, which is a single player RPG developed by Obsidian. We kind of talked about that a little bit when they announced it at the Game Awards. But I'm excited for that. I think everything's open world nowadays. And sometimes I just want to sit down and play a game that I know I can beat in 15, 20 hours. That's been the nice thing about Gears is
for sure.
The end is on the horizon basically. And
definitely.
I know I can play a new game in a week. So I'm excited for that one. I'm excited to see what Obsidian does, and hopefully it'll be indicative. Microsoft got kind of lucky. They snapped them up. So this one's not exclusive, but everything else will be.
Do they have a potential release date, or did they just say 2019?
It's for sure 2019, but nothing official yet. So
okay, cool.
I'm excited for that one.
Yeah.
And then the two that I'm pretty much officially going to buy. Well, I guess Metro Exodus I'm for sure buying.
Yeah.
I haven't played the first two yet. I've played the first one a little bit, but the PS4 had some weird crashes and stuff, so I didn't keep playing because I didn't want to just get halted and never be able to play again.
Yeah, sure.
But they're on the Game Pass, so I'll probably play the two of them before February when it comes out. But I'm excited to have a post-apocalyptic type game, shooter, kind of underground nuclear type thing, because Fallout kind of let me down a little bit. So I'm excited for that. It's the third game in the series, so pretty excited. All of the stuff I've seen is pretty dope. And then the last thing before we jump into movies and kind of a discussion of maybe what we think will bomb this year, is Rage 2. That game just looks insane.
Yeah. Yes, it does.
It's still kind of confusing what it's going to be because it's open world, but it's not like a Far Cry game I don't think.
No.
From what they've talked about. It's more of a Doom combined with, it is Doom combined with Just Cause because it's the two developers of those games.
Yeah.
So it's the world style of Just Cause where it's an open world. It's kind of nuts and there's vehicles and craziness going on. But then you have the tight first-person shooting development of id Software. And there are RPG elements with kind of your standard Bethesda, not Bethesda, but the other subsidiaries Dishonored and Wolfenstein and Doom, kind of those types of upgrades where you can upgrade your character and your guns and stuff, but not role-playing
crazy
game style.
Yeah.
And I think that's what it's going to be. And if that's what it is, I'm fine with that. If I can get through the story in 20, 30 hours and have a blast,
that'd be awesome.
I think that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'll buy it on the outset. I might, just because I'll probably still have GCU at the time, which runs out in June. Sad day.
Bummer.
But yeah, those are the games I can think of. I don't know if there's any I'm missing, but
yeah, I think that's pretty much the gist. And
it's going to be a good year for games again.
Yeah, I'm
it's
excited.
hard to top last year.
No, I know, but dude, if
stuff,
Cyberpunk comes out this year, I'm gonna lose my mind.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what I'll do. That'll be a problem.
Yeah,
but we'll cross that road when we get there.
I'm hoping it sells well and inspires other people to jump into the Cyberpunk. I know some people culturally are kind of sick of the Cyberpunk stuff, but I want more Cyberpunk.
What stuff are you sick of?
We've barely had anything good.
Yeah, exactly.
Like a lot of Cyberpunk stuff is just mediocre. And
right.
It's it's decent aesthetically. It looks cool, but I want something that's meaty and that kind of shifts it a little bit. And
world.
Aesthetically, they're actually changing it and making it a little brighter in some places, and it's not just your standard fog. Everything's foggy and dark.
It's always raining.
And yeah, it's always raining and neon lights. It looks like they're gonna have a bunch of different districts and variation and stuff.
Yeah,
so
100%.
Yeah, buddy. That's the games. That's a lot of good games.
Yeah.
So
jumping into movies. We're hitting a high mark, I know, with time, but we'll kind of run through these. I feel like movies aren't as deep. It's a lot easier to just be like, I'll go
honestly,
see it.
This is. I thought last year was the year of superheroes, but this is the year of superheroes, and I think it's not going to stop.
No, probably not.
So, I would say probably for me, the number one movie I'm most hyped for, just because I want to know what happens and I want to see what happens, and I'm sure a lot of people are in the same boat, is Endgame,
100%,
bar none.
Yeah.
So that, I can't even fathom what's going to happen, and I think they've said all of the trailers and media and everything is only the first 10 to 15 minutes. Everything we've seen so far is the first 10 to 15 minutes. So
that's crazy to me.
It's probably just going to be nothing of what we're expecting.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I had that on at the top of mine too, and I think my excitement for it is it's not just the end of the story, because I know that they're going to wrap things up and bring people back. I'm not surprised, but I think even more so, I really want to see what they allude to setting up for the next.
Yeah, it's not the end of the story, but it's the end of an era.
Yes,
the original Avengers are done basically after this
exactly.
one. I don't know which ones, but I'm pretty sure all 4 of them probably.
I kind of hope that this is Robert Downey's last movie, not because I want him out. I think he's the perfect Iron Man, and I can't see anyone else being Iron Man, but I know he has said numerous times that he's almost walked away because he's like, I want to do it right. I want to leave when the time is right. And so I feel like this could be the perfect movie for all of them to leave in the most wholesome way possible, of just
I don't want them to
passing
pull
the mantle,
a comic book thing and they just keep living and keep coming back. I want them to commit to the emotional end of these characters that we've loved for 10 years. I actually want to see Iron Man die.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that, after 10 years, that's just going to, destroy so many people. And I feel like,
dude, could you imagine?
I feel like that's the emotional impact this movie needs to have.
Yeah. Could you imagine if they killed Cap and Iron Man? That they die together taking Thanos down or something?
I don't want to see Cap die. I don't want to see Cap die. Not that I want Iron Man to be dead, but I feel like he's the character, because he's the one who started this entire thing. He's the leader of the Avengers, basically. He was a character that nobody cared about at the time, and they basically revived Iron Man as a popular character. And he's helmed this entire I'm pretty sure Robert Downey has served as a trainer for everybody coming after how to be good in these superhero films and stuff, and he's helped people and mentored people, and just seeing that in this movie, I feel it would just kill me.
Oh yeah, that would.
And I kind of want that to happen in this movie. I want to I want to be just punched in the gut emotionally.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
But if they kill Cap and him and Thor goes away and Hulk all in the
same, everyone just bites it. Yeah. I don't think they would do that. I think I kind of see it as a choice. I think it's either Cap dies, Iron Man lives, Iron Man dies, Cap lives.
Yep.
And then, but I think part of me is wondering maybe they'll leave both of them alive and they'll just have a passing on of the mantle. That's very distinct.
I would be satisfied with a passing on of the mantle, and Tony Stark gets to actually get married and live a normal life.
Yep.
I'd be fine with that.
Yeah.
But I feel like the death would just
that would
have so much more impact.
Me, dude. Oh, don't say it. I can't.
I feel like one of the big 4, I feel like, has to die in this movie.
Yeah, I agree.
If they don't, it's just not going to feel the same.
And I feel like it has to be one of those 2 front runners because there's so much emotional baggage, not just between us and them, in watching their journey, but between the both of them.
Well, yeah, with the Civil War and all that stuff. I feel like
they still haven't
building
reconciled
up to something.
Yeah,
they haven't reconciled. He called him on his burner phone that was only for emergencies.
Yep.
So
yeah, dude.
They're probably gonna reconcile and like be all buddy buddy, and then one of them's gonna die, and the other one has to live with that the rest of his life. So yeah, we're excited. There's so many things that are unknown, and I'm excited to see the new characters get written into it, and Captain Marvel, see how she plays a role in defeating Thanos. And so
definitely,
it's gonna be awesome. A new era.
Yes, it is. All right. Do you want to just kind of? There's a few I'll just kind of list for mine, and then there's a few I thought that would be interesting to kind of like sit on a little bit.
Yeah, you can list. You can list a couple. I'll list a couple, and then
sounds good.
We'll jump into.
The ones maybe we'll dwell on the ones that we have together. But so one of them is Us. So Jordan Peele has another thriller horror movie coming out.
I didn't watch the trailer because I was afraid.
I haven't watched Get Out yet, but I was listening to an interview where he was describing it, and he was like, "It's not what I haven't heard anything."
It's
but
basically
there's
like a movie version of like Black Mirror, kind of.
Yeah, and that's what it sounds like. And so it makes me really want to watch it. And I know people are like, "Oh, have you not seen it yet?" But I think it's because I was like, it's a little too like horror-y for me, and it's not my vibe. But I've heard him just. And seeing that he has another film come out, like Jordan Peele to me is one of those people where he's just like just does what he wants, and what he does is amazing. So I'm really interested to see Us. John Wick 3, I love 1. I still need to watch 2.
I need to watch.
They're just great action flicks that just don't take themselves too seriously, and they're just a lot of fun. I really like Keanu Reeves, and I think he's done it seems like he's had a lot of fun. He's actually like literally trained for those movies in terms of special operations action and stuff like that, so it's a deep role. Captain Marvel, of course, it's the next new superhero, so I'm interested to see a follow-up, like a new person coming into the Marvel fold that is a completely new character, and that will probably be, I envision her, Black Panther, and then maybe whoever gets the mantle with from Iron Man or Cap being the new trio or the new leads.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like Doctor Strange will probably stick around. Yeah. There's a lot of characters who have been like ancillary who might step up.
Yes, which would be cool. So that Wonder Woman 2 set in the 80s, it's supposed to come out this year, I think. At least on the list that I saw, maybe it got delayed to 2020.
I think it was supposed to come out in 2018, I think, and it got delayed to
this year. Okay, yeah. So
it's called Wonder Woman 1984, I think.
Yes,
is the official.
Yeah, title. So I'm excited for that, especially after Aquaman. And I really liked Wonder Woman, and so I think if they can capitalize,
same director. So
yeah, so I think if she can capitalize on this one again, which I fully trust that if they kind of were like, just do your thing.
I'm glad it's in the 80s too, because I think it's gonna lean more into that comic booky, colorful, because like her suit is much more bright in the actual like Wonder Woman palette, whereas in the other one it was the colors, but it was like faded, and it was that weird military film kind of look. So I'm excited to see like a more colorful, bombastic like comic book film.
I hope they just channel the 80s super hard. Like that'll be really tight. Believe it or not, I am excited for Star Wars Episode 9. I think partially because this was the note I wrote to myself. As I said, I think I'm going in so angry that maybe J.J. Abrams will make me enjoy this somehow. So that's exactly how I feel about it. I don't think that's going to change. I think I'm going in with such low expectations that it's either going to be such fodder for criticism because it's like none of you thought through any of this.
Yeah. Honestly, with that one, like, I don't think it's going to be bad. I think it'll be.
I agree.
I think it'll be like 7. Like, you either love it or you're just like, that's decent.
Whatever. Yeah.
Like, it's not going to be viscerally hated.
Yeah.
Like number 8 was.
Yeah.
And I feel like 9, like Abrams seems to be like he seems to know what he's doing as far as like filmmaking.
Yeah.
And he seems to know what he's doing with Star Wars. So hopefully he can revive it and kind of like rebuild what was
for sure
torn down.
Yeah. I think here's my concern is my beef with 8 wasn't even the story that they took. It's just that it felt unplanned. And some of the things that they did just made me worry. Like, it didn't make me want to see the next movie. Whereas, like, oddly enough, like, Venom was terrible, but I was like, man, somehow at the end you managed to make me kind of, like, want to see Carnage and stuff. Yeah. And so I think with 9, I honestly think if I were to divorce any thought I have of 8 and to like work mentally on doing that until December, I might really, really, really enjoy it. I think what's going to be really hard is there's going to be things that Abrams might try to just finalize and fix and be done with that are going to pop up in the movie, and I'm going to be like, I remember you did that in episode 8 and you're just trying to cover for that fool.
Yeah.
So I think that's the issue that I think I'm going to have is seeing some of those things be closed off and not being able to just let them be, and see this movie as its own thing, because it's not. It's in a trilogy, and the second one sucked, and so I don't know. But anyway, that's that.
No, I feel you. Yeah, it'll be interesting.
Yep,
I'm definitely seeing it. But
yeah. And then I got a couple others. Spider-Man: Far From Home. Mysterio's been confirmed as the main villain. As
is it Jake Gyllenhaal? Yeah,
so I think that's gonna be cool.
I hope they lean into the suit with that one too.
Yeah, that'll be awesome. So Spider-Man: Far From Home. Shazam, again, we kind of said that with Aquaman, set a really cool tone. The director for Shazam is going to be, I think, has said he's really excited with how the project is going. All the trailers and stuff seem awesome, so that'll be a lot of fun. Toy Story 4, people said is coming out this year, so if that comes out, that's going to ruin me too. And then lastly on my list, and we're hopefully going to be doing an episode with Imperius on this one at some point, but Hellboy. So I'm excited to see it. I'm a little nervous from the trailer I saw, just as someone who makes video. There were a lot of things where I was like, it doesn't look very good. Like, being objective, because usually people are like, oh, it's so special effects having special effects. Yeah. Blah, blah, blah. But there were things where I was like, that just didn't look right. Like, that, like, just was off. Like, and so part of me was like, were they trying to rush out a trailer?
Honestly, dude, like, to me, the trailer felt way too markety.
Yeah, like, that's exactly how it came across.
Was not Hellboy music.
No, exactly.
Like, the attitude of the movie was not the attitude that I would understand Hellboy to be. And like, yeah, Hellboy is goofy, and in the comics they do play that up, but like the timing and the weird like punch jokes and different things, like it didn't feel like the type of movie that this movie is promising to be, because it's supposed to be rated R. It's supposed to lean more into like the darkness and the horror and like the creepy like demon stuff that Hellboy has to fight, and like this did not leave me with that impression at all. So I'm still hopeful, because I feel like they're just trying to market it as like this goofy like ha ha ha, like we're like Thor and like all these movies with like 80s music, and like we're bombastic and comic booky, and like nobody wants that. Except maybe like normal people who don't have any idea who this giant red dude is. Like,
right, exactly.
So then maybe they're just trying to spin it as something it's not. So people come see it, and then it ends up being something. Because if you show all this like creepy horror stuff, maybe it'll turn people off. I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm hoping that's the case.
Yes.
Otherwise, I will be disappointed that they didn't let Guillermo finish the third one.
Yeah, so. and I'm really excited, because I don't know a ton about Hellboy, so I'm kind of going in just kind of like, let's enjoy the ride. But there were things objectively from a video standpoint, and even from what I had heard from you and from what I'd read online, where it was like, did they just flat out lie about what they're trying to do with this movie? Or are they, like you said, I think it's more along the lines of what you said, that they're trying to do something, and they're like trying to like remind them of like, oh, but hey, there's gonna be fun to be had.
Yeah.
I hope not. But
I feel like they took all those little goofy moments that do happen in Hellboy, and they made that the focus of the trailer.
Yeah.
And like, I'm sure those little moments where he like punches somebody and they go flying, like that'll be a little funny joke that happens. But I don't think that's the focus. But when you put
movie. every single one of those,
I feel like that's what they did.
Yeah.
I hope so, because like Mike Mignola, the creator of Hellboy, is like much more actively involved in this movie, like in helping them write it and get the aesthetic down and stuff.
Has he had anything to say about the trailer or the reaction?
The trailer I don't know about the trailer, but he said he's happy with the movie.
So then I would take that.
It's either like he's right and it's a good movie and it's faithful to his work, or it's like a George Lucas thing where like if you he doesn't know what people want, or like his vision of his work is actually different than what people interpret it to be.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm still hopeful for it, and I think it'll be fun either hyping it up on the podcast with them later this year or trashing on it. So
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, I Googled it to see if Mignola had been quoted on anything, and I just see people like one of the top articles from cinemablend.com was, well, the Hellboy trailer is not exactly what I was expecting. So yeah, it'll be interesting. It'll be a fun ride. I think it'll be just even to have the fun of like the social aspect behind it. I think will be cool.
Yeah, I'm excited to see how David Harbour does as Hellboy.
Yeah.
Because I personally like how he looks.
Yeah, I agree.
I do wish they would put the hair up into like a bun or a ponytail like Hellboy. For some reason, they are obsessed with having his hair down. It just looks aesthetically weird. But other than that, he looks dope compared. Like, a lot of people don't like how he looks compared to Ron Perlman's Hellboy, but I think it looks sick. So
yeah,
I think it'll be fun. It might be bad, but it'll be fun. Yep. It could just be like a campy like movie that becomes a cult classic or something.
For sure.
So is that mainly your list?
Yeah, that's pretty much my list. And I was thinking about sticking around or that we could talk about the negatives, but we'll ride on those posy vibes.
Keep it on the posy.
Keep it on the posy.
Yeah, I just got a couple left here at the end. Nothing I'm too hyped for. Like, I feel bad because all I see is superhero movies now, but I feel like there haven't actually been a ton of like movies that I would deem good. Yeah. Not to say like other movies aren't good, just movies that I wouldn't enjoy.
Like that your taste
is. Like I like more like heady films like Christopher Nolan or something like that.
Yep.
So I think there's actually a Jumanji sequel coming out.
I saw that too.
And he got Danny DeVito this time.
Oh no!
So whenever that comes out, I'm seeing that because I like,
dude, Danny DeVito. And if they put oh my gosh, dude, that made me just
like I don't laugh out loud for movies very often, but any scene that Jack Black was in the first one, like, I was on the floor laughing. Like, I was just laughing so hard. I can't wait till the sequel.
It was just a fun movie.
I went into that so skeptical. I was like, you can just remake Jumanji like this, and especially like in a comedic tone now. Like, you can't do that. And it worked so well for some reason. I don't know.
Yeah, dude. So if DeVito is in it,
I know.
Get your sword.
I hope they keep the same guys, but then add more people. Like,
that would be really funny.
Have Kevin Hart and
like
Dwayne
different
Johnson,
characters. Yeah. Maybe that's what they'll do, because I think there was a number of characters like in the first one that they could pick to be, and they didn't pick those. So it'd be kind of fun if like
or
the
if they
Rock
just keep doing new characters. But
yeah,
the Rock
so like
is
the Rock is
guy.
still him, but then like other people come and play, and that would be kind of fun.
Yeah. So that's not even on my list. So somehow we got on that, but Detective Pikachu. That
get out of here with that sauce. No, I agree. I'm interested.
Here's why I'm excited.
Yeah.
Nobody has ever tried to do a live action Pokemon movie.
And like hardcore CGI live
legitimately,
action.
Like they're just not like these cutesy little things that look exactly like the Pokemon.
Yeah.
Just running around like in CGI. These are like, they tried to make them look more like realistic and stuff. And I'm like, it's going to be kind of creepy seeing some of these.
I 100%
especially
agree.
Mr. Mime looks a little like, he looks like he should be in like a nut house or something.
I'm not jiving with him.
But the plot's probably going to be, I'm only excited for it because I want to see what all these Pokemon look like in real life, basically. Like, I want to see what they do because I'm interested in. I always like looking on Instagram and stuff at people who kind of like make Pokemon look real and kind of what they would look like. So
definitely,
that's the only reason I'm excited. Plus, just seeing Pikachu sound like Ryan Reynolds just sounds like a trip for me.
I just hear Deadpool. I mean,
I know,
like I can't. Oh, that man!
I bet there's going to be some sort of joke in Deadpool 3 or whatever he ends up doing, X-Force or something. So that's on my list because of that. And then the last couple is Dark Phoenix. I just want to see that because I want to see how they tie up the Fox X-Men universe before things go that way. Oh, speaking of which,
oh boy,
it's a conspiracy theory.
Yeah,
I hope it's true.
Yes,
but there's been some rumblings about Hugh Jackman somehow making a cameo in Endgame as Wolverine or something.
Ooh,
like just,
I think I have
just a small
seen
cameo because his IMDb
that.
Page at one point
put Endgame.
Endgame showed up on there.
Oh, boy.
And he like tweeted something about how he was doing some lines or he was doing some things. So if I can't even talk about that, if that happens, I'll cry. So that'd be cool if they just had like a little nod, like ding, like we're working on something. And he's obviously done with Wolverine, but it'd be kind of cool just seeing a little thing. And then the last two is the Lego Movie 2. I really liked the first one, so the second one looks fun. And then Joker. So
I saw something when I was Googling all the movies that are coming out this year that people are really excited with what Joaquin is doing. They're saying he's a really good Joker. And I just saw a shot too. I think it might actually be on this Rotten Tomatoes tab I have open. But I saw a shot and I was like, oh boy, like this dude is, there it is. So I don't know if you can see that. I'll kind of rotate my laptop. Yeah, I know, right? Young Jamie, can you pull up that shot of Joaquin? I don't know if you can see it.
Yeah,
but
the paint there.
Yep. Yeah. It's like it's looking good.
Yeah, and there have been some shots like scene shots where it shows him like running through the city or running through the subway in his suit and stuff, and it looks awesome.
Yeah, and
it looks very different. It looks like his makeup and everything looks actually like a clown. And some people are thinking like maybe that's his origin story.
Sure.
And then he kind of changes his makeup up as he goes. But I don't know. I'm excited to see what he does with it. And I'm hoping it's another case of DC making a good standalone film.
Yeah, I agree.
And I feel like a Joker origin story is a very bold move.
And I think
it's only been done in the comics like once or twice.
Yeah, so. But I think it'd be really interesting, and I think that would be the exact thing to get people to come watch it. It hasn't been done like 50 million times, you know. So it would be cool. I think he has a very interesting, very philosophical backstory too. Yep. So that'd be a lot of fun to see.
It'll be interesting to see too, because I feel like the Joker origin story is almost like the reason it works is because there isn't any one origin story. Like, the Joker exists in like many different nobody really knows how he became the Joker because he tells the story like 5-6 different ways. Even in The Dark Knight, the second one, he tells like 3 different stories about how he became the Joker.
Yeah.
And so like if they lean into that a little bit with this movie, almost like an unreliable narrative type thing,
that could be cool.
That could even be cooler too.
That could be real cool.
So I'm interested to see what they do with it.
Yeah.
So
definitely.
Yeah, that's a lot of stuff.
That's a lot.
And there's tons of TV shows and everything coming, so but
that's
I'm excited.
The general hype.
Yeah.
Everything that we could find.
Yep.
So and I'm sure there's stuff that will pop up, but that's pretty much the gist of everything.
Yeah.
So, well, on that note, just to remind y'all of what our episode schedule is looking like for the rest of January 2019. So next week we will be discussing some comments that mon frère Bill Maher made about Stan Lee and comics. And our hope is to make that discussion be very not like an attack piece or like be like, oh, stupid Bill Maher, like, meh. But like we really kind of want to dive into the question of, you know, are there parts of a statement that are valid? Is there parts that are not? What does it mean for pop culture to be prevalent in our society, and like what is its role, and who are the age groups that quote unquote should or shouldn't be allowed into it? Should there be any restrictions on that? And just kind of diving into some of those big questions and actually having concrete examples that we're pulling from to discuss that. So we'll be discussing Bill Maher next week, and then the last episode of the month will be a look back at the whole Gears of War franchise. So basically all the 360 games except Judgment, I think, is the prequel game. So it'll be Gears 1, 2, and 3. So we'll be looking at the story, the lore. We'll probably have some pieces to read on just kind of like, you know, the history, the background, how Gears influenced the game industry moving forward. And then that will be the last episode of January. And the one you're currently listening to is Hype for 2019, which is come and gone. But not 2019, but the hype is, well, I guess the hype is still here. Hype train is rolling.
Hype train's rolling.
No Cole. No, we're not at Cole yet. But you can listen to those future episodes on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio, YouTube, and Spotify. You can follow Phil, Zach, and I on Twitter and Instagram. So Phil and I on Twitter and Instagram are I am Phil Sorensen and JK in Pop Culture. Zach on Twitter is C San Pellegrino, and on Instagram I think he's like Z Cookster or Zach Cookster or something like that. Mm-hmm. The show email is popculturepunks@gmail.com. So if you want to send us any topics to discuss, questions, concerns, if there's anything on the upcoming schedule that you're really interested in sending your thoughts in beforehand, we'd love to throw those out to kind of help guide our discussion. If there's anything else you'd like us to look at, articles to read, whatever, you can also send those to the email and to our Twitter, which is @popculturepunks. We are also @popculturepunks on Instagram. We also have a Facebook page. We've been posting funny pictures that we try to do every week to just kind of, I don't know, have fun.
Spice up
life.
Have
fun.
It's the spice of life.
Spice of life. And last but not least, we've got some merch on Redbubble and Threadless. So that's just something that we get $1 from every shirt, basically, that gets purchased. So it just kind of helps us support the show with the gear and the layout. And we're hoping to make some big changes this year and just really making this show progress. And anywhere that helps. But also, we don't want to like just be like, you should go to our Patreon. Maybe someday. That was weird. Freaky. Maybe someday.
If you have any thoughts or ideas, like we said before, with our email, shoot
Don't shoot us. Don't shoot
us. Thoughts or ideas about how you think we could improve or get better or whatever, feel free to shoot us an email
100%.
as well. And then also leave us a review on whatever site you're using. We would greatly appreciate that because it helps the visibility.
Yep. So. Even if it's bad. Because if it's genuinely, unless you're like, man, you guys suck, you should never do this again, then I'm just going to laugh at you. But if you genuinely have like criticism, please, like, we want to make this the best show out there. Our goal is to be number 1. We don't play number 2. Boy. Anyway. And with that, this has been 2019 Hype. Thanks for listening. Thanks for tuning in with your ears and your faces and your brains. Bing, bing, bing. All those things. And with that ring-a-ding-ding, we will send you off with a fond cowabunga.
Job security, but I've been dreaming about packing it all up, cause the war in me just won't relent till there's nothing left but dust. So what do you do when the walls start closing in, and everyone you love tells you it's all just in your head? And I wanna burn out in a brilliant burn